Today is Wednesday, September 28th. I call this meeting of the Board of Voter Registration and Elections of Beaufort County to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There are no members of the public present, so we're going to move past item 2 on the agenda. First up are our meeting minutes from June 16th and 17th, 2022, the canvas hearing. Is there any discussion on those minutes?
Sorry, Laura. Do we have an agenda?
Yeah, it's in the packet. You have it? Okay. All right. So if there's no discussion, do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I so move.
Beverly?
Second.
Elaine, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. June 22nd, 2022, the board meeting. Any discussion on those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Elaine Mitchell moved that those minutes be approved.
Second, Bernadette Hampton.
Bernadette, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And finally, the canvas hearing on June 30th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Caroline?
Second, Beverly Dorr.
Beverly Dorr, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So originally on this agenda, Mr. Greenway was going to brief us and give us a facilities report, but he is currently in a meeting. So do I have a motion to move this down the agenda to after our committee reports?
So moved.
Caroline moves. Aline, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So committee reports. Ron Clifford is not present right now, so we'll move on to the Finance Committee from Aline Mitchell.
Finance Committee have no report.
Nothing to report. Legislative Affairs Committee, Bernadette.
No report at this time.
Beverly Dorr with the Precincting Committee.
Okay, the re-precincting committee met on yesterday, September 27th, at the Voter Registration and Elections Office to discuss the ongoing need for realignment of our precincts. As we all know, the goal is to reduce the polling place to a manageable voting population of about 1,500 per polling place. Vernon was very helpful during this meeting by providing us with a commissioner by commissioner printout of how many each precinct had in terms of voting populations. And I am sure that you will be getting that information at a later date. I was not able to get it in time for this packet today, but it really gives us a really good starting point as to where to go. I think the bottom line of our discussion was that we need to continue to identify polling places. A couple of our polling places are no longer available to us, and what we plan to do is to meet with the Facilities Committee and to come up with a strategic plan for identifying areas in which we can use as polling places by the next election. So we are planning to meet again probably in November to continue the process with our deadline being prior to 2023.
Is that all you have to report? I just didn't want to interrupt you.
Sure.
Okay,
Unless you
okay.
want me to go on.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I can go over each person, the 10 commissioners, polling size.
Okay, Mr. Rowe, the Rules Committee.
The final on the rules committee is going to be produced next week. Chopping up a big oak tree, I know it's going to fall flat on my house, but that's another story.
Are you?
Jean had, yeah. Ta-da. Jean has all the notes, having taken them word for word. I'm going to gather them between now and next week at Jean's assent and then share them with the committee. And it's going to pretty much reflect all but the appendices, should anyway reflect all but the appendices, which is where we left off at our last meeting. That's it.
Okay. Is Mr. Greenway available yet? Okay. Marie, we are ready for your director's report. Great.
You see where this goes?
She wants to see her list.
This is good information. I just couldn't get it into. That's everybody's.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I guess I should say afternoon. Okay, let's look right quickly. There's a lot going on right now. You know, we are in the election mode, preparation mode. And so we are going to do briefly a report on what's going on. So, we're going to talk about election updates, facility updates, and a few miscellaneous items that's on the agenda. As you know, we will have 4 early voting centers across the county for the November 8th election. And just want you to know that the early voting hours for the general election is going to be slightly different than the June primary. We will start at 8:30, starting on October the 24th, but we will be in session until 6:00 p.m. through the 4th of October.
November.
November.
I'm sorry, November. November, okay? So, the one thing we need to know is that the early voting period is from 8:30 to 6:00 p.m., right? And we will have 4 sites open. We are asking our St. Helena folks to please encourage those folks over on Ladies Island in St. Helena to utilize the facility. It's really a nice place, the St. Helena Branch Library. And I think that it's a great service to the voters in that area. Okay? And also, you also have in your packet, you should have received this by email, is a copy of our training schedule. And what we are attempting to do with our training is to have enough sessions available so that poll workers will have several options. However, it's important that you submit your list of poll managers so that we can notify them of these sessions. They will need to enroll because we are trying to minimize the number of attendance at each session. And that's because we are kind of like out of COVID, but not really out of COVID. And so what we are trying to do is make sure that no one session is overcrowded. And so that's why you notice that there is a capacity limit on each one of those sessions. We're going to go 2 weeks straight of training, and board members, just be reminded, if you have anyone that's out of town and not able to meet any of these sessions, who will be doing the training again?
Us. Us.
You all will. So you are encouraged to come to the training session, and you are also encouraged to come to any of the hands-on session. And this is so that you will know what's being discussed. We will have a script, and we have to follow that script. And so once you understand what the poll managers need to know, you can better help them on election day with what they are doing, because they only going to get it once, but you have the opportunity to get it more than once. So your education, what you understand, will help you manage your poll managers at the precincts on election day. So you have the supplemental clerk training. At each one of the regular session, we are going to have some sort of hands-on as well. So if you notice, the session is a little bit longer than normal, and that is to give all poll managers an opportunity to have some hands-on training and to touch and feel the equipment that they are going to be working with. It's not going to be very long, but they just need to be familiar with the equipment. Now, clerks, on the other hand, will have a more detailed training session. And of course, those will be limited because they will be done at the office in Beaufort. And because of limited space, we will be limiting the number of people attending those sessions as well. So in order for your clerks to know that they have to attend one of these sessions, you have to give us their names so that we can notify them of the dates and time of each one of these sessions. And if you also notice, we have several sessions on Saturdays. Most people don't like to come to a training session on Saturdays, but that is to allow those people who are working during the weekdays an opportunity to be trained. And also it's a little less stressful trying to hassle with the weekdays traffic getting to and from training sessions. Okay, we have scheduled what we call a public test for our precinct scanners and our ballot marking devices. It's going to start on October the 7th, 2022, around 10 o'clock a.m. Now, it will not be finished on that day, but that's the day we will start testing the scanners and making sure that the ballot marking devices are ready for the election in November. And on the 4th of November, we will be doing a testing of our central count scanner. That's the big scanner that we have at Election Central, the two big scanners, and the small scanner, the DS200s and the 450s. So those will be, that notice will be publicized so the public will know when those testing will be conducted. Board members, you all should have a copy of your individual polling place assignments, the number of voting machines that will be assigned to you in your packet, I believe. Vernon should have given you that. Did everyone get a copy? I know Beverly showed hers. It's in the back of the packet, Chris said. That's a list of all your precincts and the number of voting machines that will be assigned to you, please review and make sure it's sufficient. You know your precincts and your polling places better than we do, so please review and return that information to Vernon no later than October the 3rd. So if you think that you have too many machines, let us know. If you think you don't have enough, let us know. And this goes along with the preparation of the equipment, just to ensure that we have what we feel you need to have enough available equipment for your voters. We talk about facility space back and forth, and guess what, guys? We have some additional equipment that we received. So it's just adding more equipment to our already cramped space. Now, the State Election Commission, we don't have to pay for it, at least not pay for it directly for the cost of the equipment, but we do have to cover them under the insurance. And so if you look at the table that you have in your packet, you know that we had originally 539 ballot marking devices. They added 30 to that, so now we have 569. And they gave us 5 more DS200 scanners. And the whole idea of the additional equipment is so that we will have enough for the early voting locations. On the electronic poll book, we received 16 additional, so now we are up to 213. They gave us some extra blue bins so that we will have the tools to transport ballots back and forth from the voting site, the early voting locations, back to Election Central, and additional printers as well. We received 16 of those. So that's a part of our equipment inventory. Just for your information, our Uocava voters received their ballots within the deadline time, which was Saturday at noon. We got ours done by 11 o'clock on Friday night. And so at that time, we had 58 ballots that we needed to get out. And we did that, and we met our deadline. So we should be good. DOJ shouldn't be coming after us. Mail ballots, we are still receiving requests. The deadline for us to receive applications for mail ballots is October the 28th, which is a Friday, which is 11 days before the election. And at 5 o'clock, we cannot accept any more applications. So anyone who's considering getting their ballots or receiving their ballots by mail, we must have their requests no later than 5 o'clock on October the 28th. Right now, we have received 2,189 requests for absentee ballots, which is a whole lot less than we received back in 2020. Okay. We are hoping to start sending out ballots to our voters the first week in October, right after we get through with the testing. And like I said, the testing should be taking place starting the latter part of this week and the early part of next week. So once those ballots are tested, making sure that everything works the way it's supposed to work, then we will start sending out absentee ballots to our voters. Again, for your information, we will have write-in candidates. Right now, we have 3 declared write-in candidates, 2 for the School Board District 5 race, which no one filed for that race, but write-in candidates do have the option to be elected in that office. And we have another for County Council District 6. During the general election, you can write people in, people who you feel can represent you. If you do not have a name on the ballot, you can write in. And even for those people who may have filed, you can still do a write-in. And the reason it's important that we get notification for those who are interested in running as a write-in candidate is so that we will recognize them. We will have their names votes that we get for those candidates will be presented at the canvass hearing so that it can be counted and certified along with the rest of the election. If you notify us now, if you do not notify us, that does not mean that you are not a write-in candidate. It's just that these people, for sure, who notified us, will be considered a declared candidate, and their votes will come in front of the Board of Canvassers for certification. There is no deadline to do this. You can do it up to the day of the election. All right. Just so that you will know, while we don't consider every vote a write-in candidate, because some of them are cartoon characters, which we know they are not serious candidates. But if we receive a number of ballots being cast for a particular person, we will also consider those, even if they are not declared. And the concerns about whether or not the candidate's name need to be exactly the way the way the candidates would normally spell it is not true. It does not have to be exactly. As long as there is some derivative of that person name, say if somebody is William Brown and they put Bill Brown, we pretty much know most Williams are considered Bills. We will probably give that candidate the benefit of the doubt and cast their ballot for William Brown. If you spell William incorrectly, we will still consider it, as long as we can determine that this voter intended for this vote to be cast for this particular candidate as a write-in. Write-ins can be done on the electronic voting machine, and it can also be done on paper ballot. And all of those votes will be considered that we receive towards a particular candidate. Okay? Just this morning, we received notification that one of the mayoral candidate for the town of Hilton Head will be withdrawing. We have not gotten official notice yet, but the reason why I put this out there is because we will not be able to take this person's name off the ballot. His name will be on the ballot because the deadline to withdraw and for us to create a ballot has passed. So what we will do is we will put signs at every early voting site and every precinct that this candidate would appear in, which will be on Hilton Head. So just know that we cannot take that person's name off the ballot. Like I said, we are getting ready to test ballots right now, and we cannot make any more changes. Facility updates. I was hoping that we would have by this time received Mr. Greenway's report, but that's been moved to the back. So he will be reporting on the expansion of the John Galt facility, which is our main office. The Bluffton office, the Bluffton satellite office, board members, please know that that's one of the facility that's being moved sometime in 2023. I'm not quite sure of the date. We were looking at January. I can't put a date because I don't know exactly when it's going to be ready, but know for sure that we will be moving the Bluffton satellite office out of the Bluffton Recreation Center. Okay, and we talked about the next bullet point at our board retreat back in August about our limitations to parks and recreation facilities. And Mr. Clifford is not here, but Ms. Beverly is here. Know that because she talked about it in her committee reports as well, we need to stop beating the bushes to find polling place for those facilities that are being housed in parks and recreation facility. Chris, if you would go to the next slide right quick. Right now, this is a table of what we have. We are using these facilities as polling locations. The Lynn Brown Center has 3 precincts, and the number of voters that are assigned to that location, Burton Wells Recreation Center, if you notice, these are some pretty high numbers. 2,252 for that one. Davis Smith, 2,391. Booker T. Washington, 784 voters. Scott Community Center, 1,292. Gloria Potts, 1,248. Buckwalter Recreation Center, 8,580 voters utilize that facility. And the Bluffton Recreation Gymnasium is 1,211. And the reason why that's important is because whatever or wherever we go, we need a facility, if we can find it, large enough to accommodate these voters. I'm going to be working with our ACA, which is Audra, on trying to find places that we can move. But that means you all who are out in the community also need to be looking. And we can't stress that enough. As you know, we use the Bluffton Recreation Center as one of our early voting sites. We will be allowed to use it in November this year, but I'm not sure where we are going to be in 2024, which is going to be a major election. So all of those things need to be worked out, and we're going to be working closely with county administration on that. And again, we need you all to help in that process. Because the Bluffton Recreation Center, right now, seeing all of the voters in the Bluffton, Sun City, and some of the Hilton Head areas as well. So I don't have to prolong this now anymore. You guys are here.
Sorry, were you waiting?
I was killing time. No, I'm just kidding. No, so that's one of our assignments, and it's a serious assignment because we will need to be sure that our voters have someplace to go in 2024. Now, also, because this is the Bluffton area, know that the town of Bluffton will be having their general election in 2023 in November. So we need to find something before November of 2023. Okay, miscellaneous items. Oh, go back to the slide before. I want to say this in a public forum. We were having some issues with our air conditioning unit in the John Galt office, and the county added a 3-ton unit, and the air conditioning in our warehouse no longer is a problem. Awesome. It is really nice. It's cooling greatly. Now, of course, right today we don't need it, but during those hot summer days, that 3-ton unit, along with the other 2 that we had, which I think was like a 1.5 ton each. Now we have a total of 5 tons. It's really working well, keeping the moisture from developing and keeping the equipment safe. So I just want to say kudos to the Public Works Department and the county administrator for making that happen.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris. All right, miscellaneous updates. We've been in the community, you guys, out there talking about changes to our absentee voting mostly, and some of the changes that took place in the new election laws back in May. I crossed out the ones that have already gone by, but we will be meeting at the Burton Wells Center for a community meeting on Sunday, October the 16th at 5 o'clock. The Port Royal Plantation Community on Hilton Head on Tuesday the 18th at 5:30. And the Dato community, we will be there on the 19th at 3 o'clock. And we are steadily getting requests for presentations because there are voters who want to be educated on the voting process. So that's what we are doing right now. We are also beginning to do briefing for our student pool managers. We have Battery Creek High School that has responded. Ms. Bernadette is coordinating that, along with several other high schools and ACE Academy. They all will be participating. Beaufort High School said yes, they just have not given us a date yet that we can go out and train their 16 and 17-year-old students. They are some of the greatest poll workers you can have. Those of you who have worked with them in the past know that the students are great workers. They're very obedient and they want to do a good job. We're going to throw out that we do have a vacancy. The outreach training coordinator, Amber, who served in that position, has since left and moved on within the county to another county department, and we all wish her well. And but we do have a new staff member, Lanisha Paris, who has replaced another county employee who left our department and moved to another county department, Latara Grant, who's now in the IT department. They took all of our good folks, y'all. But it's all good. We all in the same business. Lanisha is doing a great job. She's been on the job for 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, and she's learning a lot. She comes to us by way of Florida, and she has a lot of good customer service skills, and we just look to have her be a part of our voter registration and elections family, and she's excited as well. So when you come in the office, please make sure you stop by the front desk and say welcome to Lanisha. Any questions?
Mr. Greenway may announce it, but an email just went out. The county will be closed tomorrow, the 28th, or 29th, I'm sorry, Thursday and Friday for the hurricane.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Greenway has joined us, so this time I'd like to invite him to give us his facilities report, please.
Yeah, I just did a brief thing. We are finished up a call at 2 o'clock with the sheriff's office on the hurricane response, tropical storm response. Hopefully when it gets to us, after coming through Florida, the folks in Florida, and what they're going to be encountering tonight, tomorrow, and over the next several days, they're certainly in our thoughts and prayers. We have made a decision, because the school district will be in a position of e-learning due to the storm on Thursday and Friday. We have made a decision to close our operations so that the employees will be available to assist their children at home with the e-learning that will be going on. So county offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday to work with the school district to allow parents to engage their students in those education opportunities. If this runs past 3 o'clock, I will have to step out because I've got another call, so I'm juggling a lot of things going on at this point. So I wanted to come and talk to you all because I need you all to make a recommendation about what you want for the future of your facility needs. And I'm going to present two options to you. One is an expansion at your present location at 15 John Galt Road. And the second is option number 2, which would be upfitting the Harris Pillow building. One will give you less space. One will give you more space. One will be very convenient because it'll be right there. And the other one will be 4.4 miles down the road for more space. So I'm going to walk you through each one of those options. I will need you all to make a recommendation so that I can take that to the county council to secure the necessary funding in order to do the work. So the 15 John Galt expansion is, you can see all of the things right there is what we would have to do initially for an 1,884 square foot addition. This will be the extent of any improvements that we can make to the John Galt property. So if you build a storage facility here and add on to this building, and that becomes full, or you run out of space in your office for personnel and things like that, there will be no other option for you all at John Galt. So you need to think about that before you make the decision long-term as about what your future long-term needs will be. There is no plans in the county, underneath county administration, for us to build a new facility for voters registration. We have invested a lot of money in your present location, and I intend to carry that recommendation forward, that be your location for many years to come. So keep that in mind as well as you hear these and make these decisions. So next slide, please. Again, just a continuation of all the things that have to be done for the addition. Next slide. So it'd be a total of $232,950,000, about $124 per square foot for us to do the 1,884 square foot addition to your location where the voter registration facility is at John Galt. This is a brief description of what it looks like. You can see the addition there toward the very back that we did a couple years ago, and then the additional addition would go behind that for the 1,824 square feet. Parking is very tight here at this location. We think we can do this. Of course, we will not know for sure until we go through an official site plan review to make sure we can meet all the stormwater requirements, impervious surface ratio requirements, and all the other development standards that the city of Beaufort might have in their code for us to do that. So next slide. Harris Pillow Building, again, so I want you to see the wire cage system of 35 by 50. We can do 35 by 50 a lot of times in there. So if you need more than 35 by 50 for $55,000, we can do 70 by 100, or we can do 105 by 150 space for the wire caging unit, whatever space you have, because we have more room in that facility to offer to you all to put your equipment in. Would it be a secure facility? Next slide. So again, for the grand total of $90,000, we can offer you the 35 by 50 space. And if we need to increase that space with the secured area for you to store your equipment in, then we can do that as well. And we can do that for around a third of the cost, or half the cost, or whatever amount of space you need in there. We do have some pictures, and we'll move into those now. This is the Harris building warehouse space, very similar to, as I understand it, I've only seen it once or twice, very similar to the existing warehouse space at the voter registration building. Is it not? Am I correct about that?
Yeah, it's similar.
Insulated walls, exposed metal structures, things like that, concrete floor. So again, that's a wide open area of several thousand square feet, plenty of flexibility for us to utilize the space to do what is needed to be done in there. Next slide. This is the front of the building here. This is one of the poorer sections of Harris Pillow, but just because of the green carpet and the ceiling tiles and things like that. But again, where you can invest the money in order to upgrade this facility for you all to be able to store your materials in there. There's restrooms in there for folks whenever they're over there getting the machines and things like that. Next slide. Again, warehouse space. You can move on to the next slide. And then this is the front of the building because I want you all to know where this is actually located. This is on 21 going out toward, if you're leaving town, going out towards Sheldon, it'd be on the left right before you get to the drive-in theater. This is where the Battle of Port Royal was held back in the Revolutionary War. We purchased the property with the Department of Defense. There is something called a restrictive easement on the property that the DOD has placed on the property. And what that restrictive easement means is that we cannot have a lot of people in the building every day, all day long. We can have like 20-something people in the building each day, if I recall the restrictive easement parameters as well. The front part of this building up where you see the windows there will probably be eventually turned into an interpretive center for the Port Royal, for the Battle of Port Royal, as a part of I'm drawing a blank. What's the trail? No, the trail that, with the Revolutionary War folks. So anyway, it's going to be a part of that trail that is being created throughout the state of South Carolina. There will be an app that people can pull into the parking lot, pull up on their phone, and learn about the Battle of Port Royal. So anyway, so some of you are probably familiar where that building is. That is the old location of Harris Pillow. We purchased it from the person that owned Harris Pillow about 2 years ago, and they have relocated in what's formerly the 84 Lumber facility next door and kind of behind this. So next slide. And that's it. So I just need you all to make a decision. Tell me what you need from us, and what you feel your needs will be, what better serve you in that, both short term and long term. It'll probably take about 8 or 9 months to do an addition to a John Galt. So you'd be looking at about a year worth of permitting and planning and design and construction. Of course, Harris Pillow be a lot quicker. So, and it offers you a lot more space and availability of space to put your equipment in. So anyway, there you have it. I just need a recommendation from you all so that I can take that forward to the county council about what you all would desire for us to do. But I do want to reiterate to you that John Galt is, as far as I'm concerned as county administrator, where you all will be for several years to come. I do not plan to allocate any resources for a new voter registration building or facility in the master plan. It's not called for in the master plan. That will not be a part of my recommendation at any point in the near future, if ever. So, okay. Any questions from anybody?
Okay, yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you. The Harris building, you said it's 20 persons are allowed in there.
It's around 20-something people, but a DOD is not going to come over there and check it, you know.
Okay, my question is, those 20 persons, will they be allowed to have a work area in that building? Like,
So, they would not be able to be in there all day, every day as for a work area. The DOD will allow us to have the interpretive center open for the Battle of Port Royal, and there will be people in there at limited times throughout the day. The same situation would apply to voter registration. But as far as anybody having a dedicated office space in there where they could go in there and work every day, all day long, that would not be something we could do underneath the restrictive easement. But if voter registration folks need to go over there and work on machines and, for a few hours and load machines and things like that for transport and all that, you would certainly have the right to do that. Because we store stuff in there too. Our communications department stores some of their equipment in there. So they have to go over there and get the materials out periodically. So you have the right to do that. So,
Will the communications department continue to use the facility in conjunction with the elections commission? Or will we have it exclusively?
no, you won't have it exclusively. We will build, if need be, we will build a secure place that only you all will have access to inside the building. The building is, 30,000 square feet.
So
So,
just a portion of the building?
yeah, that's right, yes.
wire cages.
And so will there
Correct.
be any security with the machines that we have?
Yes, we'll build whatever caging system, wherever you want to go. If you go in that front area where the green carpet was, we have plans to rip that carpet up and redo the flooring and all of that. If you go in there, it's going to be already secured. You're not going to need any kind of wire caging system. You can have that entire space to put your machines in. Now, we may have to build a wall internally because we may have to provide that access to the restroom from the larger warehouse area in the back. But there are wide doors in there for the equipment to be rolled in, out to the loading dock doors, loaded on and things like that. So yeah, it'll be a shared space, and the voter registrations space, we will do whatever we need to do to give the appropriate level of security for that space.
I was also concerned about, you mentioned it was a restricted area in the building.
No, it's the whole property has what's called a restrictive easement on it due to the air station. This property is located right across the street from the air station because the Port Royal Battlefield actually runs across 21 onto the air station property. So there's a restrictive easement. We purchased this property with the Department of Defense to protect the property from having too many people on the property because of the F-18 and F-35 flight paths. So we try to limit the types of uses and the number of people that can go in there. Like in the AQs, you can't really build a big pond that's going to attract birds. You can't have a landfill that would attract seagulls and birds like that because, those jets don't like to be sucking birds through their engines if in those situations, or bird strikes and things like that. So there's a restrictive easement on the property with DOD.
I'd just like to say that we do appreciate your consideration and your deliberation regarding this issue. It means a lot to us as commissioners,
Well, thank
as
you.
well as the citizens of Beaufort County.
Well, thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Greenway?
And just one additional thing, there is no urgency on this on our part. Just wanted you all to have your options available to you. You can make a decision whenever you're ready to make it and make a recommendation that I can take to council. Okay? And did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Will it be required any additional purchasing of property on that area? Because it's not like there's a lot of space over there.
Over where?
On the voter registration at John Galt Road.
There is no available property to purchase over there. The only thing we could potentially do would be to work with the folks that own the utility easement, the power line right away, for additional parking, and that's usually problematic. They don't like for usually their right of ways to get improved. So
this expansion would be built on the property the county already owns.
that's right. It'll be built behind the existing building toward the building to the rear of the property that's located on the adjacent lot. And that's an 1,800 square foot addition.
Do you have anything to add, Ron?
In conclusion. Sorry about that. I don't know what
We were discussing the addition to the building at John Galt, or the possibility of taking the space at the Harris Pillow Factory. And he just needs a recommendation from us on how to proceed. However, he says it's not, like, we don't need a decision right this second.
Right.
So the addition goes on the right? Or,
The addition goes to the rear of the existing building.
I'm sorry?
Goes to the rear of the existing
The
building.
parking lot is right there at the
okay.
top.
And then it's only 1,884 square feet that would be available to go in there. It'd be about $230-something thousand to do that. We can provide secure space over at Harris Pillow inside the warehouse or the one of the non-high stack areas in Harris Pillow at about $90,000 per 35 by 50 space. So, you know, you could get 70 by 100 square feet. So what is that, 7,000 square feet of space to store stuff at Harris Pillow for $180,000. And I was telling them that, you know, the John Galt expansion will be the last thing that we can do there. So whenever you run out of space there is no plans in the county facility plan or from county administration to provide new space for voter registration. This is going to be your facility as we see it for many years to come. So you just be wise about what you choose to use your allowable expansion space for. Because if you put warehousing here and you need more room and eventually for employees, then there's going to be nowhere else to go on the John Galt property.
But we still can't work in the Pillow building, can we?
You cannot have a dedicated office space there where you put people there all day, every day. But if you need to go over there and work with a machine work with machines for a few hours during the day, you certainly have the right to do that.
So how many square feet can we add to our building right now?
1,884 square feet for $230-something thousand.
1,800.
1884.
I think that's plenty of workspace, isn't it?
I'm gonna let you all have that discussion without
Well, no,
me here.
He's got a time constraint.
I've got to step out to another call at 3.
Okay.
Audra's here to answer any questions for me. She has done most of the legwork on all of this and put all these numbers together for you all. She can respond to you all. Again, I don't need an answer today. We can, I just need a recommendation from you all at some point so I can present whatever you all desire for us to do to the county council so they can authorize the funding for the project.
Sure.
And then we'll go from there, okay?
I appreciate
Thank
the work
you.
you've done. Sorry I was late.
No, it's fine.
Sitting on 170.
Not an issue. I've had that same problem before, so not an issue. I certainly understand. So anyway,
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Y'all
Mr.
take care.
Greenway.
Thank you.
So, I'm on this
Do
executive
we have-
session. I need to be in this 3 o'clock meeting too, so we can do this next time, or there's no urgency to this, we can do this next time, or you guys can stick around until after this 3 o'clock.
What, you said 3 o'clock, you got 3 minutes. Can we shut down the camera and you just tell them, because it'll only take like 2 minutes to
Yeah,
tell them.
sure.
And then we'll leave,
Okay.
and then you can.
So all visitors
Okay.
need to depart the,
Well, I believe we need a motion to go into executive
You do.
session.
I move to go into
move.
executive session
For the purpose of
second.
receiving legal advice,
for the purpose of going into legal advice for the,
Purpose of receiving.
for the purpose of receiving legal advice on U.S. Code Section 30, Tac 4, Tac 70, Parent A, to receipt of legal advice where advice relates to pending claims which are covered by the attorney-client privilege, South Carolina State Elections versus Aiken County et al. Litigations.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Are we off? Are we offline?
to adjourn. But, I still had some announcements, so how do we get around that?
Have we already
Yeah.
done the?
Are we done?
Where you been?
Yeah, we could go back to the.
We didn't determine,
We close the executive session and then we go to.
Bryce, but we didn't make a decision on, are we going to table the facilities decision, or are we going to discuss the facilities decision
We could
today?
discuss it now. I think that's
I need
plenty of
to,
room for
so.
Vernon and them to have
If,
space to operate. There's no way we can go to the Pillow Building.
Say something. When you make the motion to come back in, you have to say you were
You have to
out in
report out.
executive session and no votes were taken.
Yes.
Right.
Because you need to make sure that's recorded, that we did not vote on anything when we came back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were in executive session discussing.
We were
with our-
receiving
we were
advice,
receiving
so there
advice.
were no
In the last
votes.
event.
Yeah, we would not normally receive, we would not normally take a vote when we're receiving legal advice.
Right.
I mean, we know that, but then.
so we back in session,
So
in
we're
regular
back in
session?
session.
We back in regular session? Okay. In reference to the facility committee and the recommendations coming from the county administrator, I just want to remind the board that this discussion's been going on for months about expanding the John Galt office because of security reasons, and some issues that we would have if we relocated to another facility logistically. It's not going to be conducive to what we do as a board. And with the office staff, we have to have access at all times to all of our equipment. And it needs to be decided upon. I would recommend that we as a board decide on, make that decision, because construction is a long drawn out process. And if there's any construction that's going to be taking place at the John Galt, which is my recommendation, that we take option 1, that we make that decision as quickly as possible so that the process can begin. 2023 is what we call an off-election year, so the traffic at the office will not be as great as it will starting in 2024. So if you are estimating an 8-month project with permitting and land prep and whatever else goes along with building or adding on, the quicker or the sooner we begin, the quicker and sooner we will, the project will be completed. And the 1,800 square feet is more than enough. We are hoping that future election equipment will not be increasing in size, but decreasing in size. You know, they can't get any bigger than they are right now. And so our goal was working space and additional storage for the bulkiness of the equipment. So if the board would consider taking a vote today, that's your decision, and you have my recommendation.
But the reality is, with re-precincting, Beaufort County is growing, and it's not going to stop growing until we run out of land. So Beverly can tell you, we're going to have more equipment and more equipment and more equipment. So 1,884 square feet is not going to last you very long. And as I understood Mr. Greenway, once this is done, we're out of Schlitz. If we need extra room, there's no more going back to the county asking for more space. This is it. So if we may want to look at the pillow factory, because that we can always expand caged storage.
Yeah,
That's all.
we understand the storage factor, but the limitations that's attached to it will not work for us. So-
I'm concerned about security of machines being in one location and the staff who maintain, update, work with those machines being in another location and having access only 2 or 3 hours a day. I think we need to be with what we hold dear, and that is the security of our elections. And I don't think, if the county grows, and it is going to grow, we're going to need more locations. We may need a few more machines, but I'm thinking within 10 years, everything in this county is going to grow. The county will have to reassess where it is during the next census.
Well, I don't know for sure, and Audra can probably help me on this, but any comprehensive plan have to be reviewed periodically every 5 or 10 years.
Right.
So in
Rewritten
any
every 10,
review
reviewed every
process,
5.
Right.
Reviewed every 5, rewritten every 10.
so in those review process, I'm hoping that reconsideration of, like you said, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. We don't really know what's going to happen next year.
We
But
do, we have a master plan that says these are our growth boundaries.
we have a master plan, but the best laid plan is there to be changed. And in the next 5 years, I feel comfortable that our facility with the recommendation would accommodate whatever, because we do have limited resources, and unless already we are seeing a reduction in the size of our equipment. We receive new equipment for the electronic poll book. Guess what? It's not that big old bulky thing. It's a small little case. So eventually, some of those big equipment's going to go away, and of course that won't be my problem. But no, I'm kidding. But we do have to plan for the future, and I think in the next 5 to 10 years, 1,800 square foot of additional space will be sufficient to house what we have and give us the ability to work on our equipment in one location, one secured location.
Nothing. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we go ahead and increase our space, starting as quickly as we can. We need the workspace. We can't work in the pillow factory. You can't put people in there, so that's a non-starter. There's no other option right now.
So your motion is to extend John Galt Road?
Perfect. Yep.
That's option 1.
Starting tomorrow. That's our request.
Do I have a second? Aline? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion is approved. Okay. Our next board meeting is scheduled for October 26, 2022, and I'm assuming it'll still be at this same location. So if nobody has anything else to add, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Caroline.
I beat you to it. Thank you. You don't need a second. You don't.
All right, you guys stay safe.
You don't need one.
We need